Had no need to fight tonight.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Nordic97 here, back again with yet again another YouTube video, and today we're doing something I've always wanted to do, but I just never had time for it. I've always wanted to do division predictions, and that's one of the biggest things that I've liked. I've seen other YouTubers do it. I've really enjoyed it. I thought that, maybe if I did it, maybe it would have caused some controversy, because I have some opinions that people don't like. We're going to start off with the Atlantic Division Day. We're going to go Metropolitan on Thursday, because we have a special video on Wednesday, and then we're going to go Central and then Pacific. So if you're new to the channel and you have not already subscribed, I really appreciate it if you did so. Even just watching the video, even giving me a view, even giving me a comment, letting me know what you think about this video, it would really help me out a lot. But anyways, won't waste any more of your time. Let's get into the video. So starting off at number 8 in the division, we're going to kind of use this as an example. I have the Buffalo Sabres. Who doesn't have the Buffalo Sabres, honestly? So I'm going to put up a picture on screen right now showing you 3 traits that I think is going to happen in this coming season. Their MVP, something about a player, or like the amount of points they hit, and then something about a goalie, or wild card, anything like that. So my MVP for the Buffalo Sabres this coming season will be Victor Olofsson. You could argue Rasmus Dahlin, you could argue Casey Middlestat, you could argue some guys that are going to rise into the lineup and develop, but I think it's going to be Olofsson. I think at this point, when you look at their offensive core, Olofsson's honestly their best player. I'm just not going to say anything about Eichel. And then I have this as a little bit of a tidbit here. Eichel gets traded at the deadline. Now, that's a controversial thing because I think Eichel could get traded before that, but I'm pretty sure that, when I look at it, honestly, that probably where he gets dealt at. And then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who played some games last season for the Sabres, I think rises above Craig Anderson and Aaron Dell and becomes the starter. So here's what I think about this team, honestly. They are a team that, has been out of the playoffs for a long time. I don't know why my throat just dried up like that. I just came from hockey practice. They're a team that, it's been out of the playoffs for a while, and it's kind of been a bit of a rough patch. And I mean, they have a lot of young guys. Peterka, Cousins, Power, Dahlin, Olofsson, Middlestat. They got guys that can develop. And I think the main goal for the Sabres team right now is to develop players and make this roster better. I think, honestly, they could have a bright future if they play their cards right. Now, I know I've been saying that for a while if you've been a big fan of the channel and you're a Sabres fan, but I think they can still come back and be a legitimately good team with some of the young guys they have. At number 7 here, we're going to travel all the way over to Detroit, Michigan, where, honestly, I really hate putting them at 7th because I feel like they're still going to be solid. The Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings, they're really bringing in the young core. Guys are going to come into the lineup who we haven't not seen in the NHL yet, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching them. Now, for my Detroit MVP, you could argue it's going to be like Seider, or it's going to be like Nedeljkovic, or it's going to be like Larkin, but I think it's going to be Filip Zadina. I think Zadina is going to take that big step up. He's not really a guy that's really talked about in the Detroit remarks because Detroit's been not very good for the past couple of years, but I still think he is a very solid top 6 forward with the core right now. One of my hot takes here is Moritz Seider wins the Calder. That's a massive hot take. I think anybody who looks at that will agree with me. That is a huge hot take. And I mean, look, the thing is with me, Seider is probably one of the best defensive prospects, if not the best defensive prospect in the entire NHL. So I think he has the possibility of winning the Calder. And then, believe it or not, as one of my hot takes here as well, I have Alex Nedeljkovic getting Vezina Trophy votes. That might blow people's minds, but that's one of my takes. At number 6 here, we have yet again another team who can take a big step up this coming season. But honestly, with the competitive Atlantic Division, I'm not too sure they make the playoffs. The Ottawa Senators finishing 6th overall in the division. Now, look, it's kind of basic like other people's general predictions. Some people might have Ottawa finishing above Montreal. Some people might have Detroit finishing above Ottawa. To be honest with you, I feel like my first 5 are kind of average. I think most people are predicting that. It's my top 4 that are surprising people. So, your MVP for the Ottawa Senators, in my opinion, will probably be Brady Tkachuk. I think Tkachuk, once he gets signed to his contract, whenever that is, I'm looking at Twitter, I don't see it. So, Tkachuk has not been signed yet. It's looking like an 8x8, but now it's looking more like a bridge deal. So we'll see where that develops. And then as one of my hot takes, Tim Stützle scores 70 points. Whether he gets 25 goals, like 25 goals, 50 assists, or 30 goals, 40 assists. Whether he goes in any of that remarks, I still think Stützle can hit the 70-point mark in his sophomore season, given he doesn't have a sophomore slump. Now, as one of my other hot takes here, I had him in my bounce back candidates for last season. If you watched that video, praise you, you're an OG. Matt Murray bounces back, and that's one of my biggest hot takes there, because honestly, some people might be looking at Matt Murray and being like, his time as a starter might be over. His time in the NHL might honestly be over. He could become a third string at this point if he plays bad this season. But honestly, I do agree with that. It is a do or die season for Matt Murray. Whether he's good, he still has an NHL shot. If he's bad, I'm not too sure about that. At number 5 here, I have a pretty controversial one here. Now, some people are saying oh, there's so much diversity on where this team finishes. I've seen some people saying they finished 5th. I've seen some people say they finished 7th. I've seen some people say they finished 3rd at the highest. This is really just the wild card team. And number 5 here, I have the Montreal Canadiens, and this is honestly where I think they finish. Their MVP, I think, is going to be Tyler Toffoli. I think Toffoli is going to take a big step up as that player now that Shea Weber's gone. Now, there's a lot of guys that are going to have to come up and rise. Absolutely. Now, this is one of my biggest hot takes, and do I think it's going to happen? Not really, but I put it in here as a tidbit, so when I can react to this at the end of the season, which I plan on doing that, I'm gonna either look at how smart I was or how stupid I was. Cole Caulfield scores 30 goals this coming season, or 40 goals. Yeah. And yeah, I know people have been saying, oh, 40 goal season. I think around 25. Honestly, I think that's probably where he finishes. I don't see him scoring 40 off the bat. I think he can later in his career, but not now. And then here's what I think. Jake Allen takes over as the starter. I'm not sure why it says start on my chart here, but Allen takes over as a starter as Price, struggles, doesn't play good, and, that's kind of part of the reason why Montreal misses the playoffs, in my opinion. At number 4 here, I have your back-to-back Stanley Cup champions in the wild card spot, your Tampa Bay Lightning, finishing 4th. Now, look, it has made blow some people's minds, like, oh, you put Florida, you put Boston, you put Toronto above them. Like, that might blow some people's minds. But honestly, I look at the teams above them. I think other teams are going to be better, honestly. I feel like that's kind of where they go. So as for their MVP is probably going to be Nikita Kucherov. I mean, who else is it going to be? Stamkos, Hedman, Vasilevsky, you can argue. But I feel like Kucherov is just a level above everyone else on that roster. Honestly, Point could be there. You could argue Point, possibly, but I'm not too sure about that. Here's my one thing. Tampa doesn't make it past the first round. Now, this is kind of a thing with me. I don't think they make it past I think they make it past the first round. I think they at least win one round, but I don't think they make it past the second round. I don't know if it's possible for a three-peat in Tampa. Genuinely. I'm not too sure if I really believe in it and if I really see it. If it happens, it happens, but if it doesn't, I won't be too surprised. And then here's one of my biggest ones. Cirelli rises above Point, plays really well in that second line, and becomes the first-line center. I know. People might be going crazy about this, but I think Cirelli is honestly one of those underrated centers up and coming. And when Stamkos is gone, when Point's gone, when that center core's gone, Cirelli is really going to rise up to that plate and play as that first-line center anyways. But I have Tampa finishing at 4th here. I feel like they've lost too much to be a top 3 team in that division anymore, especially with the other teams that got more this offseason. At number 3 here, I have the partners of Tampa, their state neighbors, their state rivals, however you want to call it. At number 3, I have the 3rd seed team, the Florida Panthers. I'm not as high on the Panthers. I have some people finishing the Panthers at 2nd. I can't see that. I can't see them going above Toronto or Boston. Honestly, I honestly can't. I look at their core, sure, but I'm not too sure, with the division that they had last season. They had Detroit. They had Columbus. They had Chicago. I mean, sure, Chicago was okay at times, but they weren't that good. They had Nashville. They had Dallas, who struggled a little bit. So I'm not too sure if Florida is legit. And that might be me talking there, but honestly, I'm not too sure they're legit. Now, as their MVP, I have Jonathan Huberdeau. You could honestly argue Sam Reinhart becomes their MVP if he really just has a breakout season. But for my breakout candidate for the Florida Panthers, Owen Tippett. I think Owen Tippett really rises up to the plate this season and really breaks out. He has not done that yet. And I think he's bound to at some point. I mean, come on now. And then, of course, for the goaltending thing here, Spencer Knight, rookie, wins 40 games. Yeah, very competitive Calder race between Seider, Caulfield. We haven't even gotten into Zegras yet or any of the other guys that are in this Calder race. So it's going to get crazy. But I have Florida finishing at third. I'm just not too high on them yet. Now at number 2 here, it's only between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. Who's going to be that second spot? I have Toronto. Yep, I have Toronto. Toronto is finishing second overall in this division, second seed. Their MVP, obviously, it's Austin Matthews. I mean, like, who else is going to be? I mean, like, is it going to be Marner? I mean, like, come on. Matthews obviously scores 40, 45, 50 goals, and he's going to win that Rocket Richard. Sorry, Ovechkin. Here's a big hot take. I don't think it happens, but I just put it in here to blow people's minds. Mitch Marner gets 110 points. 110. Anybody else see that happening? No, look. I wouldn't say 100's out of his range, but I think 110 might be pushing it a little bit. So I put that in there to kind of blow people's minds. And honestly, I feel like Mrazek and Campbell, they split the 41 games. I think they play 41 and 41. Of course, they're not going to play 41 and 41. But I mean, like, Hutchinson's going to come in there and play a little bit, and it's Toronto. One of them is going to get injured, or both of them. So, obviously, but I think they'll split the games, kind of. But I think, I feel like they're both starter caliber goaltenders, honestly. I mean, like, Mrazek was solid in Carolina. Campbell in his years with Carolina has been pretty good, too. So, never know. And finally, at number 1 in the Atlantic Division, your division winner, the Boston Bruins. I love the Bruins. I love the moves they made this offseason. I absolutely love it. One of the biggest problems with this Bruins team was depth. That was the biggest problem. And I feel like when I look at this team, they really reacquired that. Eric Haula, Nick Foligno, Tomas Nosek. The center core is so much better. Yes, they lost Krejci. That definitely hurts like hell. But I feel like the center core is so much more trustworthy now. I trust it a lot better now. Their MVP, I think, is going to be Linus Ullmark. I think Ullmark takes that big step up. Of course, I have him winning the Vezina there as well. I'll get that out of the way, too. It's going to be a very competitive race. I think Ullmark could win Vezina. Ned gets votes. It's going to be crazy. And then Pasternak scores 50 goals. I think he gets back to that 50-goal mark. He bounces back from a kind of a down goal season. And I think he comes back from that, and he rebounds with a 50-goal season. So there you go. That is your division predictions for the Atlantic. Tomorrow we have a special video talking about a trade that happened a year ago tomorrow, October 6, 2020. And we're going to look back on it, look at the impact of it, and look at how stupid I was when it happened. So thank you all for watching. For Bradley, I really do appreciate it. If you could subscribe, I would love that. Comment, like the video, do whatever you want. And I will see you guys in the next video.